Well, this is a interesting story to talk about. Apparently, there's talk that Disney may end up selling Star Wars. We're gonna be talking about that in this video here. But before I talk about this, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel. I would really appreciate that. I really would. It would really help me out a lot. I'm hoping to get to 300 subs so I can finally do my reward videos for you guys. Now I'm gonna go ahead and get into the video here. So we're gonna be talking about Star Wars here and the fact that Disney may end up selling Star Wars. Yes, there's talk that they may sell Star Wars. Now the reason why they're talking about it is because right now Disney is hurting. They're hurting bad. Like they are hurting really bad. There's even talk that they may be forced to buy Hulu from Comcast. So that they're really hurting for money. They're being forced to lay off people and all that. Their movies are flopping. Disney is just in a horrible situation right now. And one of the properties that's in a horrible situation, though, is Star Wars itself. Star Wars at this point has become a damaged brand. It really has. It has become a damaged brand. Back when Star Wars was first released, it was actually a very well-known movie. It was known for being different, unique. At that time, back when Star Wars came out, there really wasn't a lot of space movies. There was probably some, but there wasn't nothing like Star Wars. There was something similar to it like Star Trek, which I think came out a few years later after the first Star Wars movie did. But there was not really anything, there was not really, anything like Star Wars. It was mostly just, there was maybe some space movies here and there. I mean, we did have the Alien movies and all that, but there wasn't like movies like Star Wars where they fight with guns and lasers and travel to planet like, what they do, they do in those franchises. So clearly, Star Wars was a big thing back then. Unfortunately, over time, though, Star Wars, was starting to be in trouble. It was starting, believe it or not, back in, when George Lucas owned it, it was actually struggling. That's the whole reason why George Lucas sold it, because he was making fans mad, and George was tired of putting up with it. But George, I'm not saying that the prequels, again, were all great. They did have their flaws. I know because I've reviewed all of them. I've reviewed every single prequel movie, including, the first movie of the original trilogy. And I gotta say, yeah, there's definitely, there's definitely, some problems with the prequels, but the thing is, George Lucas struggled deciding if he wanted to sell it to Disney or not, because Disney was interested in buying it. But, he ended up selling it to Disney, and now Disney has their hands on it, and Star Wars is in horrible shape right now. It is in horrible shape, though. But yeah, it is. We're at the point now where no one's excited for Star Wars anymore. I mean, even back in the prequel era, there were fans out there who were actually excited for some Star Wars stuff. See, the prequels were kind of mixed. While Disney Star Wars, most of the fans actually don't like the sequel trilogy and anything Disney's putting out recently. But I can say, though, that so far what I've seen, of the movies telling, the Solo story and all that, and Rogue One were good. But I have technically not seen anything from, the sequel trilogy yet. Well, I've seen The Last Jedi a long time ago, but I remember being confused with that movie and all that. But I can't agree with fans though on this though, that yeah, Star Wars is definitely a damaged brand. It is definitely very damaged. Their products are not even selling very well. Their products, like in the store and stuff, they're not selling. And Star Wars has got like a little section in the aisle now, like toy aisles. So like if you go to a Walmart or Target or a Kmart, if you can find one, because I know a lot of Kmarts are gone now. Basically, you go to a Star Wars section, and you will only find like a few toys here and there. Star Wars used to have aisles filled with Star Wars. They used to have, aisles filled with them. But now that Disney's got their hands on it and all that, yeah, that's definitely a problem. And like I told you guys, I cannot really say if I hate or like the sequel trilogy because I have not seen the movies. Like, I have not seen them. I only seen one, and that was a long time ago. But I can say that, yeah, Disney has done some stupid stuff with this stuff here. They are overpricing crap like the Star Wars Hotel, which they're forced to shut down. They're being forced to shut it down because, they can't afford to keep it open because they made it way too expensive. They're focusing way too hard on the sequel trilogy, which no one cares about. Heck, they have no plan. They've got no plan, They have no plan with the Star Wars movies at all, period. Or Star Wars in general. They just happened to buy it because they were interested in it because it makes money. That's the only reason why they bought it. They have no idea what they're doing with the franchise. They just bought it just to make money off of it. And that's not really what a franchise is all about. Yes, it's good to have a popular franchise, but you need to know how to please your audience. And Disney has no idea how to do it. Because like I said, they're doing this stupid stuff with the hotel. And then you got they're now making another trilogy with Rey in it, even though no one wants it. Everyone's sick of tired of the sequel trilogy. They're not really, they don't have any plans with Star Wars at all at this point. And then all the films and stuff, and that was announced, either been canceled or they've been turned into TV shows. Basically, changing the whole story up, trying to stretch it into a show when it was already being made into a movie. So, the Kenobi show, that was supposed to be a movie, so was Boba Fett. All the characters were supposed to get their own movie, but so far, really, only Solo has got his own movie. And I'm not saying that every character needs a movie, but the fact that, they had these movies planned, and they turned them into a TV show, that tells you that they have no idea what they're doing with the Star Wars movies, or the franchise in general as a whole. And yeah, this is definitely a problem here. And then they're making stupid changes, like they changed Boba Fett's ship from Slave 1 to, something else, like I think it's called the Fire Sprint or something. I can't remember what you call it, I forgot. But that ship has been changed for a stupid reason and all that. Disney is focusing way too much on woke crap. They turned, a great Star Wars, property, that was owned by George Lucas into basically a woke freaking cash grab, and all that. And that's the thing, though. They just keep doing that. And it's just not going anywhere. And since they're losing money and they're being forced to buy Hulu now, I think they confirmed it that they're going to be buying Hulu. So basically now they're at the option where they're probably going to be forced to sell some stuff. So they're talking that there's been rumors going around for a couple years now. This has been going on for a while. That's with Kathleen Kennedy too, because people want Kathleen Kennedy, people want Disney Star Wars to be sold. But there's actually talk recently that they may end up selling Star Wars or Lucasfilm in general back to George Lucas. Now, this sounds like a good idea. I mean, I think it sounds like a good idea, and it should be a good idea because, how much Disney has damaged, Lucasfilm and Star Wars in general. Because right now, Lucasfilm is in the gutters. It is in the gutters. Its toys are not selling. It's very expensive. The only thing that's selling from that crap is like the games, and those aren't all made by Disney. Those are made by other people. So it's not really, they're not all owned by Disney, Disney owns, the name, but they don't actually own, all the games. They're actually made by, a different company. So, the fact that, George Lucas could end up buying Star Wars again, that sounds like a good idea. However, here's the problem. Here's the problem with this, is the guy is like 80, he's 79 years old. This guy is almost 80 years old. He's almost 80. And there's not really much time with this guy left. I mean, to be fair, there are people who do live to be in their 90s and stuff, but the thing is, though, is a lot of people around this time usually are too old to run companies and stuff and all that. They're too old, and they don't have a lot of time left because a lot of people do die in their 80s. But, but the fact that, there's talk that, that George Lucas may buy Star Wars. At this point, I don't know what to say here. I actually kind of want him to buy it again. I kind of want him to buy it. Now, I'm not the biggest fan of Star Wars, to be honest. I've been watching all the movies, and I think they're really good, but they're not really something I think that's great, like great. I think they're good. Don't get me wrong, they're good movies, but they're not something that I really care about as much as like I'm more of a cartoon movie person. I like to watch cartoon movies. I think they're better, but that's just my opinion. But I do. That's why I kind of like the Clone Wars show, because it's like a cartoon and all that. But I do like the movies. The movies are still really good. They're still masterpieces. At least the ones I've seen so far. But the fact that, we could have George Lucas, buy it back, that'd be actually a good idea. Because if he can buy it back, Star Wars might get better again. Now here's another problem we got with this, though. Here's another problem. See, Star Wars is so damaged. Heck, the whole Lucasfilm company itself, they're not just talking about selling Star Wars. They're talking about selling Lucasfilm back. And George Lucas is interested in buying it. If that's true, then there's a problem. They may not get all the money back. They may not get all the money back that they bought for it a while back. The problem is because it's a damaged brand. I mean, yeah, they have more shows now. They have way more shows than when George Lucas owned it. Like, because they got, they've got, the mainly Star Wars and stuff, but they do have the Willow show and all that. But the problem is all that stuff is not, they're not good shows. They're not good. They're not all bad. Like, The Mandalorian, I hear, was good. Well, except the third season. I heard that was bad. That was really bad. But the fact is that, again, they just don't, they're not all that good. So they do sell it back to George Lucas. They may not get back as much money, but they still could, because George Lucas could be let him off the hook, and he could just buy it back, He could buy it back, But he could end up buying back the Star Wars movies and all that, and the Indiana Jones movies. He could buy them back for the same price he sold them to Disney for. But the problem is, here's the problem. Here's the problem, though, is, like I said, George Lucas trusted Disney in the first place to take his properties, and they dug them in the ground and all that, and that's the problem. Because they did that, he may not sell it. If he ends up buying it back, he may not want as much money for it. But the thing is too. Here's the thing. Here's something that actually could happen though. Is since technically Disney does own it, they could again sell it to them for as much as they paid for it. But they'll probably try to, honestly, because it's Disney. If they end up selling it back to George Lucas, they'll probably try to sell it for like $20 billion or something, and all that, and it'll probably get dropped because George Lucas probably ain't gonna pay that much money for it. And it'll probably eventually go down to where it was at before. But it could also go lower, because like I said, George Lucas again trusted Disney, and Disney pissed him off. So he could be like, you guys were a dick to me, so I'll be a dick to you, and not to pay $4.6 billion for Star Wars, like I sold it to you for. So I don't know. That's the problem. I don't know, because technically Disney could sell it for however much money they want. But because Star Wars is such a damaged brand at this point, and like I said, the whole company is in general, it may not go for as much as they were wanting. That goes for a 20th Century Fox and other properties they bought, because they, damaged them so bad, they may not be worth as much. I mean, look at 20th Century Fox itself. Because they shut Blue Sky down and all that. I mean, to be fair, that property they bought, they wasted their money on, because a lot of the movies, and franchises, were all, bad. Like, they gotten bad over time. Like Ice Age, the Home Alone movies were not as well received anymore. That goes for, there's also Garfield movies that weren't very well received and all that. So a lot of the movies were not very well received. But they did have Blue Sky, but they shut Blue Sky down, and they basically they just sold they shut it down, and they lost money for it. So clearly it's not just Lucasfilm that they screwed up on. But I don't know. I mean, they could probably get some money back for Lucasfilm, but I don't know if it's going to be enough to save them. I don't think it's going to be enough, because they are hurting horribly. Like, they're hurting really bad right now, like really bad. And I feel like they're just going to continue hurting and all that. But I think selling off their properties is if they do that, that's in the right direction, because they don't know what they're doing with these properties, and if they sell them to other people, they can get money for it. It's basically gonna be like, the Empire Strikes Back and all that. Basically, where Palpatine gets defeated at the end. He thinks he's unstoppable, unbeatable, but then, he gets defeated at the end, and he falls to his doom. That's exactly what's happening to Disney right now. They thought they were unstoppable, they were too big to fail, and now they're basically at the point where they're losing. They're losing their empire in the movie market. So now they're going back. Then they're going back and probably thinking they need to sell off some of their properties to pay off this stuff. So all those properties they spent their money on, they're going to have to sell them. And the thing is, though, like I said, they're probably not going to get as much money for them back either, because a lot of them are damaged. Actually, I think all of them are damaged at this point, except Pixar. Pixar might be worth still something, but I don't know. I don't think they're going to sell Pixar. They'll probably merge it with Disney, honestly. They'll probably merge it. Because, Pixar and Disney are so similar now, they'll probably just merge it. But they could sell, again, Lucasfilm and all that, and get some money back for it. I don't know. This is kind of interesting, though. This is very interesting. I don't have a whole lot to say, though, because, to be fair here, this is kind of something that's a rumor that's been going around for a couple years now, and it could happen. They could end up selling it, because again, they're hurting bad. Like, they are hurting really bad. But again, if George Lucas buys it, the guy is almost 90 years old. I mean, almost 80 years old. Sorry, I keep saying 90, but yeah, he's almost 80 years old, and although people do live around their 80s and well, a lot of people do live to be in their 80s or 90s. A lot of people also die in their 80s and 90s too. So I don't know. The guy's old. He's not young anymore. He's old. So I don't know. I don't know what will happen. But we'll just have to see, I guess. We'll have to see here what happens. But as for right now, yeah, it's basically a damaged brand. It's a damaged brand, and I just don't know what's gonna happen. But I mean, again, if the guy does end up getting his property back, he could probably pass this away. Anything that gets sold could probably go to his family for money. So his family could be filthy rich. I don't know. I mean, they're already filthy rich because of how much money Star Wars made when he still owned it and when he sold it. But I don't know. But I'm going to go ahead and probably end up letting this go, though. This is just a little video here talking about this. This may not happen either. I don't know. There could be other buyers, but with Star Wars being damaged and all that and not selling very well, it probably would be better just to sell it back to the guy who made it in the first place. Even though the guy is like almost 80 years old, but you know, I don't know. But like I said too, I'm not very big on Star Wars. I think Star Wars movies are good, but they're not something I'd watch all the time. But I do like them. So I used to buy merchandise all the time. I actually still have some, but I don't know though. I'm gonna go ahead and probably end up letting this go though. Remember, guys, to hit that like button and subscribe to my channel, as I stated at the beginning of the video. And again, this doesn't mean this will happen. This is just a rumor, but it may end up happening. We don't know. But anywho, see you guys all next time, and I'll catch you guys all later. Bye-bye.